Hello everyone, immigration attorney Connie Kaplan here from Clear Horizon Legal Solutions, where we help immigrants everywhere make the United States their permanent home. I'm here today to discuss some possible changes that immigration lawyers such as myself expect coming in January, and we have seen already some changes being made. So the purpose of this is not to alarm you in any way. Social media and mass media already does a good job at that. My job is to have you prepare your family, prepare yourself for the changes that are coming. And I will try to break down this very long list, okay, that I'm going to be referring to into categories and sections based on different areas of immigration law with little points to consider. And at the end, I'm going to discuss some of the most important things and kind of summarize everything we're going to talk about. So what we expect a backlash towards immigrants, and we expect the processes to become even longer, more costly, more cumbersome, higher burden of proof, which means more difficult to prove that you are eligible for an immigration benefit. Remember, immigration is not a right. Immigration is a benefit, and it is discretionary. What does that mean? It means that even if you meet 100% of the criteria, which nobody does, nobody meets 100%, but even if you were to meet 100% of the criteria, you would still be at the mercy, so to speak, of an officer making a determination in your case. So what we expect in terms of changes, let's start first with family cases, okay? So family-based visas will be limited to what's called a nuclear family, and that means spouse and children, generally speaking. No longer options to sponsor your parents, no longer an option to sponsor your brothers or sisters, and it is not yet clear if this will be limited strictly to spouses and children of US citizens, or it will eliminate spouses and children of permanent residents. So if it's going to be limited to the nuclear family, what can you do there? You need to consult with a lawyer to see now, before January, if your extended family has other options. Is there anything you can do for them now? Maybe you need to get a process in place now rather than not doing anything, so that if the process takes a long time and they are, for example, your parents are still abroad, hopefully in a few years when it comes to an approval, you're already there and the rules no longer apply. You can file applications for any and all qualifying family members now, because if you are applying now, even if the rules change in January or whenever they are going to change, usually, but not all the time, those rules and changes do not apply retroactively. What does that mean? That if you're applying for something now, they would apply the standards of law and case precedent and the rules, regulations, policies as they are today, okay? So, and changes will not apply to you. If you have been delaying marrying your US citizen spouse, well, now is the time. No more cold feet. Now is not the time to say, I'm not sure, I don't know, we are having issues, maybe in and out relationships, things like that. If remember that for immigration purposes, it is not a fake marriage, it is not a sham marriage the way they call it, or a marriage that you entered into for purposes of obtaining immigration benefit, if it's not the main and only reason you're marrying that person, okay? So of course it is a consideration. It's always a consideration when you're creating your life with a loved one, that you want your loved one to be able to be here with you and form your life together and have children and so on, okay? So it's okay to know and consider the immigration status, but he cannot be the only reason or the main reason, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, the biggest change that we expect to get besides this, which is still already a big change on family cases, we expect that the public charge rule that was in effect during the first administration, it will come back. So that was a nightmare, okay? So we needed to prove not only that the US citizen or permanent resident petitioning spouse was able to financially support the prospective immigrant, but we needed to show that the prospective immigrant had the education, experience, required to be a successful member of society. We needed to show that they didn't have any medical conditions that would prevent them from doing that. And that was above the regular standard of the medical exam for a green card case. We needed to show financials for the sponsor more than just the regular, poverty guidelines. We needed to show assets. We needed to show insurance that was available or that they could afford the insurance. Now, we all know insurance is expensive. We all know health insurance, right? We all know that health insurance, life insurance are not options, generally speaking, for people who are undocumented and they don't have a proper status. So how do you prove something when you cannot get it? So we need to prepare for those things now rather than later. And get your financials in place. Now is not the time to maximize the tax deductions. Now is the time to maximize your income. Now is the time to look into joint sponsors and make sure that you have a joint sponsor lined up if it comes to that and you need to do it. And ideally, you file now. It takes, to put a proper application together, it takes minimum a month. Minimum for the most plain application, okay? So consider that, doing it now, because they will issue rejections in January as close to those dates are coming. So you want to file as soon as possible. The other thing that has been told, and we should expect, according to Project 2025, okay, is an increase in application fees and premium processing fees. So basically, the government says, we expect you to do everything the right way. We expect you to get in line, but we are going to make it very, very difficult for you to do so. So in addition to limiting the visas available to the nuclear family, implementing the public charge, which is already a huge burden, they are going to increase the filing fees. And of course, that's going to add premium processing, maybe some options. We don't know yet if those are going to apply at all to family petitions. We can only assume, but seriously budget for potentially higher application fees. Regular green card application right now, it's $3,005. Application fees going to the government alone. Regular processing fees, $2,800 right now for employment-based cases. That alone for one person, it's about $6,000. That alone. So budget for that. If you cannot do it, make sure you have talk about other cost-effective filings. Maybe you have a plan B option, backup option that you can apply for that has reduced filing fees, or maybe no filing fees. Talk to your attorney and see what makes the most sense. So those are your family options, guys, okay? That's all we know so far on that. To tack on to the family options, I'm going to address here the fact that parole in place, the newest one under the Biden's Keeping Families Together plan, last week was killed, was dead in court. The judge issued an order stating that no new applications can be accepted, no applications can be approved. So basically, those files are done and over with. Theoretically, there is an appeal period. Either party can file an appeal. The appeal has not been filed, and assuming it will be filed, it's not going to go anywhere, and it will not go away before the new administration takes office. So we honestly are all considering the parole in place under Keeping Families Together dead. So what are your options, right? So we need to talk about those. If that was an option that you were planning, and I'm mentioning this in terms of the family options because you needed to be married to a US citizen in order to be able to qualify for that parole in place. All right, so that's it on the family options. Now, on employment options, okay? Now, again, this has not been announced anywhere. These are thorough reading of the Project 2025 as it affects the immigration cases, the rhetoric and the public notices that have been put out there by the incoming administration. So, employment visa programs will be limited to what's called best and brightest. They have not defined best and brightest. Nobody knows what that means, but we interpret that to mean that H-1B will be limited or removed. Okay, that will not be an option. Proving employment-based cases is going to be significantly more difficult because there are going to be protectionist policies in place that supposedly prevent employers from using people from abroad or sponsoring people from abroad in an effort to have more Americans employed. So the issue there is going to be the skill and qualification of the prospective immigrant. Again, just like the family options, we expect an increase in fees, filing fees, and premium processing. Guys, those are astronomical for all cases right now. No matter what case you file right now, the filing fees are insane. Okay, so budget for those. And this is not the time to cheap out and say, I'm going to do it on my own, I'm going to do it with a notario, or I'm going to do it whatever by using ChatGPT, because we've seen those too. Avoid mistakes and delays. Avoid refilings. Avoid denials that are going to lead into perhaps you being in removal, deported, or you having to spend additional money just to start from scratch. Yes, that applies to all cases, but particularly on immigration-based cases because of the protectionist policies that we expect. Now, let's talk humanitarian options. Those are going to be significantly cut. It is black on white paper, black ink on white paper. There is going to be elimination of. DACA was already on the chopping block. DACA was already kind of dead. They are going to eliminate all TPS. Okay? If you currently have DACA or TPS, look into other options. They are going to eliminate special immigrant juvenile status, T visas, which are trafficking for sex trafficking, labor trafficking, and U visa for victims of crime. So let's talk a little bit about those, okay? If you are a candidate for any of those, now it's the time to file. If you are a child who could be eligible for special immigrant juvenile, or you have a family member who could be eligible for that, now is the time to do it. Remember, for special immigrant juvenile, first you need the court order from the family court or the guardianship court, depending on where you are in your state. And you need that first, and that one is a very, very specific process, and it needs to meet certain immigration criteria for anything. And that takes time. Even if you start today, it is possible you might not get the court order from the family court before January or February. Holidays are coming, judges are off, they have zero reason to move anything faster than they normally do, okay? So if kids also age out, you cannot delay those things. The age out age for some states is 18, for other states is 21. Depends on where you live. We are in Florida, so, okay? You need to gather evidence of victim status as soon as possible, and that applies for T visa and U visas. U visas are going to be limited to whatever it's called most deserving cases. I don't know what that means, because if you have been shot at, obviously you're a very deserving case. We don't know what that means. Even now, to get U visa certifications from certain places, in the United States, regardless of where you are. It's very, very difficult or impossible. Other places are a little bit easier. For U visa, you need the local law enforcement or state attorney or the prosecutor to certify that you are cooperating with the case. For the T visa, you need to report the actual trafficker. So it's a lot to unpack there. Those of you who are on TPS or DACA, look at other options. If you've been delaying getting married, now is the time to get married. I mean, I have many clients who are on TPS, living with their US citizen spouse, but for some reason they just haven't gotten married. So first, they weren't married in June. We couldn't even apply for parole in place for them because they didn't do it. I don't know what some of you are waiting for. Now is the time to do it, okay? If you have, and you're still eligible to file an asylum claim, now is the time to file your asylum petition. This is also humanitarian option. Remember, special immigrant, juvenile, T visa, U visa, DACA, TPS, asylum. Okay, kind of humanitarian, all of them. So, same thing for United for Ukraine. All of these programs are gone or will be gone. Okay, now is the time to do something. Okay. Prepare your asylum application, especially if you have entered in the last 1 year. You have a 1-year deadline to file an affirmative asylum application. You can file a defensive asylum later on when you're placed in removal. Generally speaking, if you are a citizen of one country, but you already have residency in another, that's considered firm resettlement. Usually your asylum is going to be denied. Talk to your immigration lawyer and make sure what is the best option for you. If you have more than one option available, by all means, seriously apply for all of them, okay? Have a contingency plan, including travel and arrangements for your family. I cannot stress this enough. Yes, sadly, that also means maybe have a go bag, okay? And that means you should have documents ready. You should have perhaps guardianship documents drafted, powers of attorney for the rest of your family members. If your entire family is in the United States, leave each other as your power of attorney. Empower your family member to make decisions on your behalf. Let's talk asylum. Okay, so asylum, again, it's a little bit different than humanitarian, but it's a humanitarian option. And the proposal there is that they are going to remove the particular social group category, which has traditionally enabled people from certain countries who belong to particular social groups, such as LGBT community, victims of domestic violence, groups based on gender, people who come from countries, for example, where there is genital mutilation. Okay, so those are just some example, guys. There are many other categories. Consult with a lawyer and see what are you eligible for, under what criteria, and see if you can file for an asylum right now. Okay, see if other grounds can apply. File anything that you can now. Don't wait. Let's talk removal and deportation. Okay, you may already be in removal proceedings. You may not be in removal proceedings, but may have a notice to appear in court that may be not yet filed with the court, but you know it was issued because you have it. Maybe you already have an existing removal order that has not yet been executed, means you took voluntary departure and you never left. That obviously that turns into a removal order after the described period of time. So any of those, make sure you know what your options are, because even within them, your options are different, okay? They are going to eliminate sanctuary cities. They are going to increase ICE detainers. They are going to, remember the famous words during this election, mass deportations. Of course, are they going to focus on the low-hanging fruit, meaning people with criminal records first? Sure. But if you have one, or you have a case pending, or you have serious criminal history, or you have a long history, but they are all minor, such as, disturbing the peace, but you have 10 of them, okay? Because you got drunk too many times when you were young. Whoever, talk to your immigration lawyer, disclose everything to your immigration lawyer, and have a plan. Now, if you are in those situations where you have an NTA issued, or open case in immigration court, or already a removal order, by all means, stay away from any federal facilities. That includes airports, okay? Borders. Remember, CBP has 100 miles jurisdiction from any border, and that includes the shore. We are in Florida. Pretty much the entire state of Florida can ask anyone at any time, and this is the part that most US citizens don't understand, proof of citizenship just because they stop you, because you are within the jurisdiction of CBP. They can, and they have done it in the past, board Greyhound buses and ask everyone for proof of citizenship. If you don't have your passport on you as a US citizen, maybe have a copy or a scanned copy on your phone. Have proof of you, have your green card with you, okay? Carry documents, carry all your documents, carry copies of any receipt that you possibly have from immigration showing you have a pending case, okay? Are any of those guarantees? No, because they are also talking denaturalization of US citizens, okay? So we'll get to that in a minute. So prepare your documents. Prepare documents, prepare emergency contacts, power of attorneys for everyone. Yes, I said this before in the other categories, but just in case. And file any application as soon as possible. Guys, this is not the time you file it on your own. It's just not. You do you, but this is not when you file it on your own. I've been doing this a long time. I have not yet seen two cases that are identical. You're looking up on Google, okay, and trying to find something that matches your criteria. I'm telling you, there is nobody who has exactly your situation. Talk to an immigration lawyer, okay? If you already have one, talk to them. If you don't, look for one, okay? Most immigration attorneys can help clients anywhere in the world and anywhere in the United States. It's a federal law for as long as we'll have laws, and we can help clients anywhere. We have clients in all 50 states and about over 100 countries, okay? They are going to eliminate prosecutorial discretion, which means the ability of ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, to close cases that they don't deem worthy of prosecuting, they don't think you should be deported, or they just, because it ended up in front of them. So they are going to eliminate that option. There are some cases, we file for a couple of people, we file all the time, but these are still pending almost a year later. We intend on refiling those and hope that maybe they will move and get it approved before they get a definite direction to say no to all of those requests. If your case is terminated, depending on your situation, you may be able to adjust status and get your residency. Talk to your immigration lawyer, okay? Definitely update all your contact information with your family. Make sure everybody knows where you are at all times. Make sure they know when to expect you back. So this way, if you're not back, they know what to do. And update your lawyer on your new address, your new phone number, new email address, anything. Okay? Remember, parole in place under the Keeping Families Together, it's done. Let's talk just one more point before we move into like small summary, okay? The denaturalization of people. This is not something new, okay? But they are going to significantly increase the number of people that they are going to consider under this. Basically, spouse of an immigrant, child of an immigrant, parent of an immigrant, anchor babies, they don't want them anymore. They just don't. It used to be under Operation Janice, which was the previous denaturalization program. They used to look at people who lied on their naturalization applications or didn't disclose the truth, people with criminal records that would have prevented them from becoming a US citizen. We do not know what the criteria is going to be, if any criteria at all, other than you were an immigrant. We don't know what the criteria is going to be, so protect yourself, have all your documents ready. Okay, so to summarize, this is what we need to do. 1, make sure you and your family have all your documents ready and they are accurate. Naturalization certificates, certificates of citizenship that your children maybe got, green cards, social security cards, employment authorization documents, passports. Make sure they are accurate, correct, valid, not expired, and that the information on them matches. We see quite a bit, especially from Latin countries, for example, which is the majority of our clients, that they have 2 surnames, okay? And they came here with 2 surnames, 2 first names, and the green card and the passport are now under different names because they only use 1 first name, 1 last name. They don't match. Now you have a problem, okay? We don't know if that's going to be a significant issue, but who knows? If they're looking for anything, they'll find anything, okay? Second, prepare the documents for your entire family. What do I mean by that? Have powers of attorney for financial decisions. You may have a joint account. Make sure the other party is listed as pay on that, transfer on that, or joint on your account. So this way, if you are deported and there is money in the account, your spouse can still access your bank account. Make sure that emergency contacts, power of attorneys for healthcare. Okay? Guardianship for children. Who's going to take care of your children if both you and mom and dad, both of you are being deported? Even the citizen, the children could be in the United States and be US citizens. So think about those things. Who's going to take care of your kids if the 2 of you are being picked up? Okay, and you could be picked up while you are at work. There could be an ICE raid. You could be picked up from a bus station, bus stop, on a bus. You never know. Okay. Military parole in place is still an option. If your spouse or child is a US citizen and is in the military, they can petition for you even if you entered without inspection. So that is still a thing, okay? Do not discount it, file as soon as possible. Stay away from sensitive areas, like I said, airports, borders, any federal facilities, okay? Yes, the post office is a federal facility. Do I actually consider that high risk? No, but I don't know. So I can't tell you to go there or not go there. Maybe avoid it. Maybe have another family member go there, okay? Obviously, airports, so stay away from those. File any and all applications that you are eligible for. So let's say, for argument's sake, you never had a lawful presence, you have an employer who's willing to sponsor you, you also have a US citizen spouse, apply for both employment and family options. You don't know which one's going to go faster, which one's going to be denied or approved. Apply for all the options. Yes. Is that going to cost you a lot more money? Yes. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you have advanced parole, now is the time to travel. Like now, talk to your lawyer before you do, because some people have advanced parole and we still tell them not to travel outside the United States because of their immigration history or criminal history. And some people will tell them, why have you waited this long? Go tomorrow. Okay, really talk to your immigration lawyer. This is not a decision you need to do on your own. You don't know your entire case. Seriously, talk to your lawyer and travel if you can. Okay. Is your employment authorization document, does it expire soon? If it expires in the next 6 months, 7 months, get it ready and file for renewal. Do not wait. Do not wait. Okay. Strengthen your financial documents. Get your financial documents in place. Remember, as a sponsor, you need to show income. You may need to show assets. If they start with the public charge, you will need to show insurance policies, medical issues. Get all those documents ready. when you are going to be in a pinch and you need to show it within a few days, you won't be able to unless you are getting ready for that now. And the last thing, and I said it a few times, seriously, talk to your lawyer, develop a plan, and file. We remain available to all of our clients to discuss option B, option C, whatever they have. Some of you may have no options. You may not. But you are not going to know that until you talk to your lawyer. Immigration laws change all the time. Parole in place was available a couple of months back. It's not available anymore. Yes, those people paid money and they applied, and it's a dead application. Similar to DACA. Okay? Strengthen everything. Do not despair. Preparation is key. Get prepared. Get all your ducks in a row. Change your marital status if you need to. Take care of your business. Now is the time to take care of your business. Let us take care of your status. Give us a call.